Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the face staring back at you in the mirror feels familiar, but you cannot quite place the name attached to it. Or imagine standing in your own kitchen, looking at a coffee mug, and for a terrifying split second, you have no idea which cupboard it belongs in. This is the silent fear that keeps so many of us awake at night. It is not just about forgetting where the keys are. It is the deep, gnawing worry that we are slowly losing the very things that make us who we are. Meet Margaret. At 71, living in Arizona, she was facing this exact reality. 6 months ago, she froze at a family gathering because she could not remember her own grandson's name. Her children were whispering in the other room, discussing assisted living facilities. They thought it was the end of her independence. But today, Margaret is back to managing her own checkbook, driving at night, and volunteering 3 days a week. She did not take a magic pill. She did not get a brain transplant. She simply changed what she drank. Welcome to Senior Society. Today, we are going to have a very serious, heart-to-heart conversation about the 4 missing nutrients that are likely absent from your diet right now. We are going to talk about a simple scientific protocol that involves 4 specific juices. These are not exotic potions. You can find the ingredients at your local grocery store. But when you prepare them the right way and consume them at the specific times, I'm going to tell you they act like a master key unlocking your body's natural ability to repair your brain and your eyes while you sleep. Most people do not realize that your eyes are not just cameras connected to your head. They are literally visible brain tissue. The retina is the only part of your central nervous system that can be seen without surgery. When your vision starts to blur and your night sight fades, it is often a warning flare sent up by your brain that it is starving for specific raw materials. We need to start by understanding why this is happening. It is not just getting old. That is a lazy explanation. What is actually happening is a breakdown in your body's nightly repair cycle. Between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., your brain engages a cleaning process called the glymphatic system. Think of it like a dishwasher for your mind. Your brain cells actually shrink slightly to allow cerebral spinal fluid to wash away the toxic syncto, proteins, and metabolic waste that built up during the day. Simultaneously, your eyes are trying to regenerate rhodopsin, the pigment that lets you see. But if the specific nutrients needed for these chemical reactions are missing from your blood, the repair stops. The trash builds up. The connections fray. That is why we need to talk about the first juice, which is the foundation of this entire protocol. We are starting with carrot juice, but please put aside everything you think you know about carrots. We are not talking about eating a baby carrot with some ranch dip. We are talking about the medicinal application of concentrated falcarino and beta-carotene. Let's look at the science of what happens when you drink this. You have likely heard that carrots are good for your eyes because of vitamin A. That is true, but it is too simple. The real magic lies in the photoreceptor cells in your retina called rods and cones. The rods handle your peripheral vision and your ability to see in low light. When you enter a dark restaurant and cannot see a thing for 5 minutes, that is your rods failing to regenerate. They are starving. Beta-carotene provides the structural building blocks to rebuild these cells. But there is a deeper layer here that most doctors miss. Carrots contain a bioactive compound called falcarino. Recent research in nutritional neuroscience suggests that falcarino acts as a neuroprotector. It helps stabilize the membranes of your brain cells. Think of your brain cells like houses. The walls are crumbling, it does not matter how nice the furniture inside is. Falcarino helps reinforce the walls so the cells can communicate. We saw this with a patient named Robert. He was a retired truck driver who had to stop driving at night because the glare from headlights was blinding him. It is a condition called disability glare, and it happens when the eye cannot filter scattered light. After 3 weeks of daily carrot juice, the glare sensitivity didn't just improve, it effectively vanished. He was back on the road. However, there is a catch, and this is where most people fail. You cannot just drink plain carrot juice and expect miracles. Vitamin A and these critical carotenoids are fat-soluble. If you drink carrot juice on an empty stomach with no fat, it slides right through your digestive tract and you flush it away. You absorb almost none of it. To make this work, you must add a fat source. It does not have to be heavy. I want you to juice 3 medium carrots with a slice of ginger. The ginger is there to soothe the gut lining and improve absorption. Then, and this is non-negotiable, you must eat a handful of walnuts, half an avocado, or stir a teaspoon of high-quality olive oil right into the juice. The fat acts as a taxi, transporting the nutrients across the intestinal wall and into your bloodstream where they can travel to the retina and the brain. Do this in the morning with your breakfast. Now we need to address the second juice, which tackles the silent killer of cognition, which is lack of blood flow. You might have the best nutrients in the world floating in your blood. But if the highways to get them to your brain are closed, they are useless. As we age, our blood vessels naturally stiffen. They become like old, rigid pipes. This restricts the amount of oxygen reaching your brain. The brain is a glutton for oxygen. It uses 20% of your total supply. When that supply drops, you get brain fog. You walk into a room and forget why. You lose your train of thought mid-sentence. The solution is beet juice. Beets are nature's most potent source of dietary nitrates. When you drink fresh beet juice, a fascinating chemical reaction begins in your mouth. The bacteria on your tongue convert these nitrates into nitrites. Then, your stomach acid converts those into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas that acts as a signaling molecule. It tells the smooth muscle inside your blood vessels to relax. When they relax, they widen. This is called vasodilation. Suddenly, the narrow back roads to your brain become wide superhighways. Oxygen-rich blood floods into the frontal lobe, which is the CEO of your brain. This is the area responsible for planning, organizing, and short-term memory. The effects of beet juice are incredibly fast. We are talking about seeing a difference in blood pressure and cognitive sharpness within hours, not weeks. I recommend drinking this in the early afternoon, right around that time when you usually feel a slump. Instead of reaching for coffee, which just jitters your nerves, juice 1 medium raw beet. I will be honest with you. Raw beet juice tastes like dirt to many people. It is very earthy. To fix this, juice it with a small apple or half an orange. The citrus cuts the earthiness perfectly. And do not be alarmed if you see pink in the toilet the next day. It is harmless. It is just the pigment passing through. But the payoff is worth it. You are physically opening the doors to let oxygen feed your starving neurons. Now we move to the third juice, and this is the one that excites researchers the most right now. If carrot juice repairs the hardware and beet juice opens the highways, blueberry juice is the architect that builds new additions to the house. For decades, we were told that you are born with a set number of brain cells, and once they die, they are gone forever. We now know that is simply not true. Your brain creates new neurons throughout your life, a process called neurogenesis. But it needs a trigger. That trigger is a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Think of BDNF as Miracle-Gro for your brain. It encourages the growth of new neurons, specifically in the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the memory center of your brain. It is where you store the name of your new neighbor, or where you put your glasses. In Alzheimer's and dementia patients, this is one of the first areas to shrink. Blueberries, specifically wild blueberries, if you can find them, are rich in anthocyanins. These are the compounds that give the berry its deep blue color. Anthocyanins have a unique superpower. They are one of the few dietary compounds small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. This is a security wall that protects your brain from toxins, but it also blocks many nutrients. Anthocyanins have a VIP pass. Once inside the brain, they stimulate the production of BDNF. We had a patient named Helen, a former librarian who had stopped reading because she couldn't track the plot of a novel anymore. It was heartbreaking for her. We started her on a protocol of concentrated blueberry juice. It wasn't overnight, but over 6 weeks, the lights came back on. She started with short stories, then moved back to novels. She described it as the fog lifting. Now, timing is critical here. I want you to drink this juice in the evening, about 90 minutes before bed. Why? Because remember that cleaning cycle we talked about earlier? The glymphatic system kicks in during deep sleep. By drinking this before bed, you are loading your bloodstream with repair compounds right before the maintenance crew goes to work. You can blend a cup of blueberries with a little water or half a banana. It is delicious, and it is arguably the most powerful tool we have for neurogenesis. Finally, we arrive at the fourth juice, the one that acts as your internal shield. Spinach juice. I know the idea of drinking spinach sounds unappealing to some, but listen to the science. Spinach is packed with lutein and zeaxanthin. These are not just vitamins. They are pigments. When you consume them, your body selectively deposits them in the macula of your eye. The macula is responsible for your central vision, the ability to read, to recognize faces, to see fine detail. These pigments act as internal sunglasses. They filter out harmful blue light from screens and the sun before it can damage the delicate photoreceptors. But spinach brings something else to the table that is vital for the brain: folate. Folate manages a compound in your blood called homocysteine. High levels of homocysteine are toxic to brain tissue. They are associated with brain atrophy and a higher risk of Alzheimer's. Folate breaks down homocysteine, keeping your brain safe. When you juice spinach, you break down the tough cellular walls of the plant, releasing these nutrients in a way that chewing simply cannot match. You are getting a massive therapeutic dose in a single glass. The combination of lutein for the eyes and folate for the brain improves what we call contrast sensitivity. This is your ability to see a gray curb against a gray sidewalk. It prevents falls. It helps you navigate the world safely. I want you to mix a large handful of spinach with a cucumber and a green apple. The cucumber adds water, the apple adds sweetness, and you won't even taste the spinach. Have this one any time during the day, perhaps alternating days with the beet juice if that is too much liquid for you. So here is the full picture. You have a morning routine with carrot juice and healthy fats to rebuild the retina and protect cell membranes. You have an afternoon boost with beet juice to dilate blood vessels and flood the brain with oxygen. You have an evening ritual with blueberry juice to stimulate new brain cell growth while you sleep. And you have spinach juice to act as a shield against damage and toxicity. This is not about trying to be 20 years old again. It is about being the best, sharpest, most capable version of yourself right now. I need to be clear about something. This is not a quick fix. You will not drink one glass of carrot juice and suddenly have eagle vision. Nature does not work that way. It took years for your body to accrue this wear and tear, and it will take time to repair it. You need to commit to this for at least 3 to 4 weeks to see the real changes. You might start by just picking one juice to incorporate, then adding another. That is fine. The most important step is just to start. Imagine a month from now. Imagine walking into a room and knowing exactly why you are there. Imagine driving at twilight without gripping the steering wheel in fear. Imagine looking at your family and knowing that your memories of them are safe. That is what is on the table here. It is not just juice. It is your independence. It is your life. Margaret, Robert, and Helen took control of their health by going back to the basics of biology. You can do the same. Before you go, I want you to look at the comments section. I want you to commit to trying just one of these this week. Write down which one you are choosing: carrot, beet, blueberry, or spinach. Let's hold each other accountable. This is Senior Society, and we are in this together, learning, growing, and reclaiming our health one glass at a time. Thank you for giving me your time today. Now, go turn on your juicer. Your brain is waiting.